Welcome back to another off-day winners and losers. I know you guys at home are expecting this every Monday, but you've got another one during the week because we've seen plenty more Premier League football this week, as ever. Well, I say as ever, as it was on Monday or Sunday, or whenever we put that one out. I'm joined by Zach Jalab. Jalab, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Chelsea didn't lose, so always a positive.
Wow, you are really taking the positives now out of absolutely nothing. But yeah, plenty of big games. None more so than Manchester United versus Wolves last night. Did you watch it?
I did, for my sins. Yeah, it was
painful,
rough.
Wasn't it, mate?
It was rough. I mean, right now, if your team's facing Wolves, you're in for a dry affair. And yesterday was the epitome of it. I actually thought Wolves, to a degree, of course, it's boring football, but I actually don't mind that. You know what you get with Wolves. You know what you get when you sign up with them. And there were a few players on the pitch who I thought did themselves well. Like the young right back who they signed from Liverpool. And Herver and Saïs played extremely well. And from a defensive standpoint, They kind of deserved probably at least a point from the game, but unfortunately, some would say, United got a 1-0 win in the 93rd minute by Marcus Rashford. I mean, when you need someone to score, he seems to always be there. And the thing is, you had chances as well, and to a degree they did, but I felt personally a draw probably would have been sufficient for both teams, but United somehow pulled it off. And you know what? It was actually probably a game for Bruno Fernandes where he wasn't at his best. He did look a little bit tired. So did Rashford as well. Martial got a couple of opportunities when he came onto the pitch that he could have probably done a little bit better with. Cavani too had a chance or two. So it wasn't that you weren't making chances. I just thought Wolves defended pretty well. They have a very deep lying defence, and Saïs honestly at times looked like you just weren't going to beat him. He always seemed to manage to get a foot in, and even Connor Cody had a half decent game as well. Look, United didn't play great, but in order to kind of challenge for top four and even go into second place like you need to kind of have these games, and especially during a Christmas period where there are so many fixtures, you're not going to be playing beautiful football. And so to pull off a last-minute goal and take all 3 points to go second place in the league, only 2 points behind Liverpool on the same amount of games, it is quite a statement, Joe. What would you say from the game and how you guys, you are in the league?
I'll be honest with you, I thought the game was close to unwatchable. It was a horrendous level of quality. I really found it boring. I'm sure nearly every neutral found it pretty bloody boring. Both teams just looked shot shy, I thought. Wolves are an incredibly difficult team to break down. We've said it a number of times. Nuno is a brilliant defensive coach. Connor Cody organises that back four superbly well. They really do kind of nail the art of the low block. What they maybe missed a little bit yesterday against Manchester United was that counter-attacking threat that we've also seen them put out this season. I don't think they offered an awful lot in and around the box because they were missing that out-and-out number 9 who pulls the centre-backs away and gives the room for Pedro Neto, gives the room for Pedence and Traore. But at the end of the day, Manchester United also defended okay. I think I agree with you. A draw probably would have been a fair result. Neither team ever looked like they were going to win the game. Rashford's goal is even a little bit dodgy, isn't it? Big old deflection, kind of a long, hopeful pass over the top from Bruno Fernandes. And I really thought that was the first game I've watched of Manchester United, and maybe even of Wolves, where I thought, these players look tired. I feel like Christmas break is really starting to catch up with a number of players. Loads of the Wolves backline were going down with cramp. I thought Bruno looked, like you said, didn't have his best game. He looked pretty tired, but that's the mark of a exceptional player, I think, of a really world-class player, is that even when they don't play well, they have huge impacts on moments within the game. That's, I think, 32 goal involvements in 29 Premier League games since he joined Manchester United now, which is just an outrageous rate. 22 goal involvements this season already. And look, United have been up and down. Everybody knows, though, that watches Football Daily, that I've been pro Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I'm actually really happy he's starting to get some credit now, because for a long time he was getting battered, and he's starting to get positive results. And since Bruno arrived at the end of January, let's not forget that from the 1st of February to now, so the time Bruno's been at the club, Man United have taken more points in the Premier League than any other team. more points than Liverpool, more points than Man City, more points than Chelsea, Tottenham, whoever. So that's testament to how much Bruno has galvanised his side, but also how much Ollie has improved as a manager over the last 11 months. And he's got a terrible record against Wolves at the best of times. I think he's won 1 in 8 attempts against them, and that came in the Cup, or 2 in 8 attempts, something like that. So I was just delighted with the 3 points last night because, like we've both said, the game gets so muddy against Wolves. It's almost like the performance doesn't really matter. It's all about the result. I thought Eric Bailly played pretty well back there. Fantastic to see him finally staying fit. If we can keep him fit, Man United, I think, could do some damage in the Premier League this season, because that's now 11 wins, 9 clean sheets in the 14 games he started, most recently, Eric Bailly. So that's pretty positive. I still don't.
What about the other one?
I still don't believe we've got enough defensively to challenge Liverpool in the long run. I do think we'll do, like I just said, a lot of damage to Premier League teams this season, though. So I'm feeling quite positive on this Wednesday morning. It has to be said about Manchester United. And I think with the right, maybe one addition in January, then we could push teams pretty far. But I don't think we're in a Premier League title race because we haven't got the defence for it. We've got the attack, but we've conceded more goals than Fulham. So let's just relax at this stage. But yeah, do you genuinely believe United are in a title race, Jalab, or do you think that maybe the defence is going to hold them back and not be able to do the job come the end of the season?
I mean, considering where we are during this time, like we're over 1/3 of the way through the season. There's only a few more games left until everyone's played each other once. And so to be in second position, only 2 points behind Liverpool, puts you in good stead. I mean, I can't really sit here and say before the season I thought United would be where they are. I think you've done exceptionally well. And partially that's also due to, I think, other teams dropping the ball and not playing anywhere near as to the level of what you would have expected. It's definitely, in my opinion, a better league to watch than, say, last season when you already saw who was running away with it. It feels like anyone could win a game and anyone could drop 3 points, and it's probably more exciting in the long run. And I think, look, you're only 2 points behind Liverpool. Like, you have to say that you are in the race. Sure, you may not be favourites, and you may not do it, and it may not last. You may never actually go first at any point this season. But when you're 2 points behind the team who are in first, and you are over 1/3 of the way through the season, then sure, you are in the race. Just like the people that are only a few points behind you guys are probably in the race as well. It is a very, very, very weird season, and it feels like it. Maybe after the new year, when kind of there's not so many games, you may see the league table kind of go back to the norm. But then I also wouldn't necessarily be too surprised. Like the last time we were talking about a league like this, Leicester won it, so it could realistically be anyone's option. But I'm excited to see what happens. I think if United don't suffer any injuries as well, that's pretty key. Like if Bruno Fernandes was to get injured right now, or anything like that, Marcus Rashford, then it would affect you guys quite badly. But I'm interested. I'm interested to see you guys play Villa on the weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive
big game.
I agree. That's going to be a really big game because I can see their forwards causing our backline an awful lot of trouble. But then equally, I can see them attacking Manchester United, which is always a risk because we're so good on the transition. Whilst we're on the topic of excitement, then let's talk about Leeds because they are so up and down. It's unreal. But a 5-0 walloping of West Bromwich Albion last night. Big Sam getting slapped about by Marcelo Bielsa. Absolutely glorious to see, you have to say. But yeah, they're so hit and miss, Leeds. I do love to watch them. And they definitely should persevere with the style of play they currently have because it's glorious to watch. And I'd rather watch Leeds play 100 times than watch Burnley or West Brom play 100 times. 100% that is the case. Yes, I do think they potentially need to adapt the game plan a little bit when they're playing some of the more elite sides that are going to punish them in the 1v1 situations. But you know what? They've scored 30 goals, the third most in the entire division, I think. They've also conceded 30, which is the most in the entire league. So 0 goal difference. And we still think they're going to be safe. Like, you can almost guarantee safety for Leeds, can't you? They're going to beat the likes of West Brom. They're going to beat Fulham's, Burnley's, Sheffield United's, because in 1v1s, they're just going to outrun them, outbattle them, and Bielsa, you back him to outthink the rival manager. So if I'm a Leeds fan, I'm absolutely delighted. Take this every day. Second season, that's when I potentially think, okay, how can we get the results against the top 8 sides? But right now, Leeds fans, they should be buzzing in it, Jalab.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I mean that's the thing with Bielsa, right? He lives and dies by the sword. No matter what team he plays, he's happily going to attack. And when you're playing against a top 6 side, you don't really see them beating them. I mean, they had a very good game against Liverpool, and they had a very good game against Manchester City. But I think now every team knows what they're going to do. They've seen what they do against these top sides, and it's probably either them or Aston Villa that are the most exciting team to watch at the moment in the league. What I'd be very interested about is, I guess, the next season for them. Once they're able to bring maybe a few more players of Premier League quality, because the fact that they're doing this right now with the players essentially that they all had in the Championship, and the majority of the players that they had in the Championship, it is really, really exciting to see. I mean, Jack Harrison has been directly involved in 7 goals for Leeds in the Premier League this season, 3 goals and 4 assists, and only Jack Grealish, as an English midfielder, has been involved in more, which screams volumes for how important he is, and he's on loan from City. So hopefully they can kind of get him signed in the summer. But look, I mean, the game-wise for West Brom, it was kind of rough. I mean, Sawyer's own goal just dictated everything. If you haven't seen the own goal, I mean, type it onto YouTube, watch the highlights. Watch the highlights in general, because there are also some screamers. Rafinha scores a fantastic goal. He's been really, really good for Leeds. He's been a great signing from them from the French division. And on that right flank, he's able to cut in. It's a beautiful goal. But yeah, sorry, the own goal kind of just dictated it. Because the thing is, West Brom know that, okay, Leeds are going to be attacking. So if we're going to defend, then we're going to have to sit back. And then the fact that you can see that kind of own goal so early on in the game means that you then have to push forward and leave all that space in behind, which is what Leeds want you to do. And so it was ridiculous. I mean, for Big Sam, it must have been quite rough. I reckon that's probably his in fact, it is his biggest defeat that he's ever suffered as a manager. And for them, I mean, if you're a West Brom fan, it's rough, because you're not going to be playing the same kind of at least somewhat exciting football you did under Bilic, and it looks like you may see a few more of these kind of results as the season goes along. I mean, one of the big stats I saw was Conor Gallagher, who's on loan from Chelsea, is already completing 33% less passes a game than what he was under Bilic. But I mean, that's kind of what you get with Sam Allardyce. We kind of said that, like, West Brom.
And let's not forget, they got a great result against Liverpool as well.
They did as well, and I'm sure as well when they're looking at the games, they're probably thinking, okay, we may just be able to nick a point against Leeds, maybe get a win. And they would have thought, as I said, like, not nowhere near a chance beating Liverpool. But we've kind of said already, like, under Bilic, it looked like Leeds, West Brom were going to go down, and they can't really just accept defeat and let that happen. They needed to make a change, and that's what Sam Allardyce is there for. Whether that'll happen, only time will tell. But I have a feeling there might be a few more results like these for West Brom in the long run.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's move on to Arsenal then, because Gooners everywhere on my WhatsApp will not shut up. I'm going to start this segment, though, with a little apology to the Gooners that watched Mondays or Sundays winners and losers, because I said incorrectly that Arteta has had these players at his disposal for most of the season, when of course he hasn't. Emile Smith-Rowe has been injured, Martinelli has been injured, so apologies for that. I was kind of meaning more Willian has played most games when he could have been bought out of the side. But nevertheless, up to 13th in the league, 2 wins on the bounce. And I actually thought they deserved to beat Brighton. I know that Chris Hamill won't be happy with me saying this, and because he's such a big Potter fan, but I really wasn't that impressed by Brighton. They look so inept in the box that, like, they do play quite nice football, but they just never look like they're going to score a goal. Which is maybe a little bit harsh. And at the other end, I thought Emile Smith-Rowe was absolutely fabulous carrying the ball forward. I really like Martinelli's work rate, as much as everybody bangs on about how good he is on the ball. I think he's really impressive off it as well. And this is finally a bit of momentum for Arteta. Finally, some proof that he can get output out of these youngsters. I do believe over the course of the season he's going to need more from his senior players. He can't just rely on these youngsters for the rest of the year. But when Gabriel's back from COVID, when Thomas Partey comes back into the midfield, if Aubameyang ever starts scoring goals, then I think Arsenal can definitely push up into that top half position. And they're just 6 points behind Chelsea now, Jalab. Are you panicking?
God, no. I mean, like, sure, it's 2 wins in the bounce, and that's very good. I think it's the first time they've done that since probably the opening weekend of the Premier League. But there needs to be more. Like, I think we still sat there. Like, I watched a little bit of the game, and they didn't look amazing. I really like Martinelli. I really like Maitland-Niles, and Saka was man of the match. But it's still not enough. I think to be kind of where they probably want to be at this kind of time of the year. They need more, as you said, from their senior players. And it's also, it's a Brighton side that have only won 1 game in the whole of 2020 at home. And I think that was also against Arsenal earlier in the year when Leno got injured and Emi Martinez came in and had a fantastic time from then on out. But it's definitely better. That's the positive. It's definitely better, and it can be worked on. It can definitely be worked on. I think they really need Aubameyang to start pushing on. They need him to start scoring if they're going to kind of get anywhere. The fact that Lacazette had to come off the bench and after 29 seconds score, I think it's the fastest goal by substitute since like 2008 or something like that. They need Aubameyang to kind of push on and start scoring, because currently they have Emile Smith-Rowe, is what I meant to say earlier, doing so much work in that kind of 10 position and looking really good when he's doing so, but they've just got no one there finishing the goals for them. I think they're going to definitely face tougher fixtures than Brighton. As we said, Brighton are probably fun to watch, and yes, statistically they are really, really good. They're just not actually making those stats count, which is at the end of the day the most important thing that can happen. It's going to be interesting. I mean, for Mikel Arteta, he's bought himself more time, which is what was needed. These results, a win against Chelsea, a win against Brighton, have bought him a lot more time than he probably had, say, a week ago when we were looking at maybe have 1 game left. And then it could possibly be interesting to see what they do in the January transfer window. I've heard rumours that Isco could possibly looking at coming on loan to the Emirates, which would be a really, really good 6-month signing if they can get him for that long. As you said, Partey, if he can come back into that squad. So there are definitely positives to look at. I mean, keeping another clean sheet. Rob Holding at the moment looks like he's really coming into his own, which as I said, is only a positive. But yeah, I think maybe, and this is also, I don't think Arsenal fans have got ahead of themselves because I haven't seen that much. But I do think, give it a bit more time. Let's see what they're like against some of the other teams and kind of go from there.
Yeah, totally agree. Right, let's move on to one other headline that's been making the news, and this is, of course, the Premier League considering a circuit breaker. If you don't know what a circuit breaker is, maybe live outside the UK. Effectively, there's been a high number of COVID-19 positive tests recently in the UK, a massive amount with this new variant, and of course the Premier League saw 18 positive tests in their latest round of testing. That's the highest amount so far this season. That was enough to see the Manchester City-Everton game called off, and of course a number of other Premier League teams suffer pretty badly as well. We're not sure whether Fulham-Tottenham is going to go ahead today, also because of COVID outbreak that saw Scott Parker not be able to stand in the dugout. We've seen Ralph Hasenhüttl not be able to take to the dugout either. Sam Allardyce was pretty vocal about this yesterday. He was saying that he feels a circuit break would be a good thing. Of course, he said that he's 66 years old and that effectively he's slightly worried about his health. Then we saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer say, look, we're all following really strict protocols here. Testing's been upped. It should be safe enough to play. Jalab, where do you land on this? Do you think a circuit breaker is a good idea or a bad idea?
At the end of the day, it always comes down to the players' health and safety. Like, the fact is, with the way the UK is going at the moment, and obviously so many more tests coming in, and obviously this new strain, that it was always going to mean that in the Premier League, you'd probably see a few more positive results and things like this happen. The fact that it's taken this long for actually something like this to happen is testament to how well it's been organised behind the scenes for the Premier League, and that we've never really had this kind of scenario before. I think before this it was just the Newcastle game that had been called off, which really does scream a lot of positives. And then there's also been quite a few games low league as well that have been called off. I mean, there's the possibility Chelsea right now might not play a game until the 15th of January if the FA Cup match is postponed and the City game are postponed. But yeah, I think it is kind of on the ruling as well. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know how many City players have it or were tested positive, because I think the ruling is if there are 14 players who are fit and available, then you can still play the game. I mean, that's what happened in other scenarios. So yeah, I don't think I can really give a massive say, because it just depends on certain scenarios. But if it means, you know, that we can carry on and not have a worse situation in the next few months or so, then yeah, I mean, 2 weeks off probably is what we should do. It also would be probably really good for the players and their fitness at the moment with the amount of games that they've played. The only issue is that later on in the season it then impacts that with having to play even more games, maybe in a certain week or so, or certain 2 game weeks. So I think it just depends on the severity of it and what's happening over at City and Fulham, really, because I don't think enough is known, probably public knowledge wise, to give a good statement on what we think.
Yeah, so keep your eyes, I would say, on that one as to whether or not the Premier League do enforce a circuit breaker over the coming weeks. Of course, there are fixtures today in the Premier League as well. Newcastle, Liverpool, probably going to be the only one if Tottenham, Fulham does get cancelled, so keep your eyes on that. Zach, what should people go and watch next if they enjoyed this video?
Well, why not head over to Eurofootball Daily, check all the Christmas content that's going out over there, and why not go to Snapchat as well and check us out on there. Type Football Daily into the Explore page, give us a follow, and you will receive a video from us every single day.
Yes, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.